Okej, så nu har vi tagit oss upp till norra Los Angeles och till Cellador Ales som vi träffade på NBCC. Ni kan se en länk här uppe där vi drack lite av deras öl. I have Kevin here.
Hello, how's it going?
Thanks for having us.
No worries, glad you're here.
Can you start by introducing yourself a bit? What's your role here at the brewery?
Yeah, so my name's Kevin Osborne. Me and Sarah started Cellador Ales we started a 3-year anniversary last weekend, or 2 weekends ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's crazy. So we've been in the space for about 4 years, and all we do is make barrel-aged sour beers.
Yeah.
I kind of started doing that as a home brewer before we opened the brewery for a couple of years. It's just what I was passionate about, and what I felt like I was a little bit better at making than normal beers.
Yeah.
And so just kind of jumped into that head first, and this space that we have here doesn't have a brew house. We contract our wort out of another brewery in Van Nuys called McLeod Ales, and we do all the fermentation and aging and packaging here.
Oh, okay.
Everything is 100% fermented in oak barrels for about 6 months to a year on average usually, and then we do a lot of blending. We do a lot of different fruiting. We bottle condition everything using local orange blossom honey. And let it age in bottles for another month or two probably, and then release it to the world.
Yeah. And I just told the viewers in Swedish that we tried you at NBCC last year.
Nice.
The first time you were at NBCC.
That was the first year there.
And your ales were spectacular.
Thank you. Really
I remember one Samsara, the pineapple one.
Yeah.
It was such a crazy blend. I mean, it must be super tricky to get that balance right when you're doing sour ales, because the fermentation can take you in a completely different direction than what you had in mind, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a learning process to all of it. That particular beer was made with what we call our kind of lambic inspired base, so it's not spontaneous fermented, and it's not turbid mashed, but it has a really long boil and lots of aged hops, and aged for at least a year, so it's roughly inspired by that tradition. And I think that base we've kind of dialed in to be where we want it, and not too sour. It's kind of nice medium, but with some acidity. But it is a learning process. Our anniversary beer for our second anniversary was way more sour than we wanted it to be. Partly because for our anniversary beers we always do a double fruiting thing. I think we had it on tap at NBCC. It's called Tautology.
Oh yeah, that was the first session, right?
Yeah.
We were there as well.
Yeah, so
with the nectarines, I think.
With nectarines and apricots. So we did a sort of similar thing this year for our anniversary, but it was just nectarines twice instead of nectarines and apricots. And we learned from mistakes, and it's actually in this flight board.
Oh,
and
awesome!
I think it's a lot better.
Yeah.
Than last year's,
All right. So, I mean, here in Southern California, you can hit a rock and you can throw a rock and hit 3 breweries at once. I mean, what's it like to come up as a new brewery here and try and gain space and gain a customer base?
Yeah, I think it's a little different for us, particularly because we focus on the sour stuff, and that's not as common in Southern California. I think that there's a lot of breweries that sort of dabble in it a little bit in California, but I'd say that there's, in the LA area, maybe 4 of us that do it really well, like Homage Brewing and Highland Park Brewing and Monkish Brewing, and that's really it, I think. So I think that the 4 or 5 of us, so also Beachwood Blender, I really, really love their sours. That small group, we're really tight, and we kind of support each other, and I think we each have our own market, and we're kind of, spread out across all of LA, and so it hasn't been too difficult, but there's a lot of breweries now in California, and
but that's what we love about the brewing culture, that you share. I mean,
exactly.
you say that you're 5 brewers that make sour beers, but you share your secrets, you share your tips, and you want everyone to succeed. That's a really beautiful thing that you maybe not have in other markets. So
exactly. and even like outside of it, everyone in the industry is really nice. Really sharing everything.
So do you usually do collabs, because that's quite popular in the beer world?
Yeah, we don't do a lot of them, and we kind of mostly focus on local stuff with people that are like, our close friends. But we do a beer with Homage Brewing. They were in NBC last year. Do a beer called Flor de Masamoto, which is a Masamoto farm nectarine sour, and we just released the third version of it a couple weeks ago. And that's probably one of our most popular beers that we do, and one of my personal favorites.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So where do you see your brewery in 5 years then?
Yeah, we're kind of like going through that and trying to figure out right now what our plan is. Like, this space is pretty small. We've got about 150 oak barrels in here, which I guess is a lot compared to most breweries, but like we don't make very much beer like on an annual basis. And so we just are going to be signing at least like tomorrow for a new space. Another small space that we're going to use mostly just for like packaged beer. And hopefully within a couple of years we can probably move out of this space into like a much bigger space and have our own brew house and maybe get some fooders and make some more sour beer, and maybe even make some oaked pilsners. That's kind of
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you're looking to export beer in the future as well, because Sweden is a big market. We love our beers.
We're open to it. Yeah, we'd love to get beer in Sweden. Yeah,
that's cool.
No plans.
No,
the current, but hopefully one day.
All right, cool. So tell us a bit about this flight that we have in front of us.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun weekend to come on, because we like recently had our anniversary, so we still have a lot of really cool beers on for that. So I set this flight up today. Every weekend we do an omakase flight, so like one person that works here will choose the flight, and it changes every weekend. I did it this weekend, and it starts on this side with a beer called Tinseltown, which is sort of rustic saison sour beer that was aged on second use nectarines, so it was like the second beer on the fruit, and then we infused that with hibiscus flowers, whole hibiscus flowers.
Yeah, hence the color.
That's where all the color comes from. And it's kind of like our rosé beer. It's, a little bit tart, not too crazy.
Super light, super refreshing.
Light,
you can easily go back for a second sip right away.
Yeah, exactly. I sort of wanted to set up the tasting today because we had a lot of fun like fruit beers on to have a fun like array of colors on it. So that's where we started. And the second beer is Cuvée de Fleur, that's the collaboration I was talking about with Homage. But we always do a bottling of it before the fruit. So we do like fruited version and an unfruited version. This is the unfruited.
All right, cool.
And it's one of my favorite beers I think that we've ever made. It's like really, really kind of goozy and lots of aged hop character, lots of oak character, really complex and not too acidic at all.
Yeah, I could easily mistake this for a Goose.
Yeah, thank you.
If I didn't know. It was and really well balanced. Wow, it's so round and so much depth to the taste.
Thanks. Yeah, I really am proud of that particular beer.
Yeah. Wow.
So the way we make that beer with Homage is that we get together, we bring a bunch of our like samples from barrels to them, and we blend a bunch of beer with their beer in barrels, and we come up with a blend that's like half their beer and half our beer.
Yeah.
And then we combine that beer here, so they bring all their portion to us, and then we split it, and then we fruit it separately. So
that must be such a fun
half our
process.
beer, half their beer.
Yeah,
it's a really fun beer.
Mixing and matching, and this works. Will this work?
That's my favorite part of the brewery in general here. It's a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, that was super amazing. All right.
Thanks. And then this third beer is called Ellipses. So for our third anniversary, we actually made 3 anniversary beers this year, and this is the second one. It's made with these black cherries called Black Tartarian cherries from one of my favorite farms in California called Andy's Orchard. They're in Morgan Hill, which is in Northern California, just south of San Francisco. Yeah, so it's
almost a bit of smoky notes in the back, the smoky cherries.
We did just have a fire here, so the cherries they're really, really deep and like black in color, and they remind me almost more of like a berry than a cherry. It's just kind of like boysenberry flavor out of it.
Yeah, definitely that deep red, almost reddish, bluish tone of berries into it.
Exactly.
And once again, that perfect balance of sweetness and acidity.
Yeah,
not overly acidic, but wow, so good.
Thank you. The next one is Bibliophile, which was our main anniversary beer for this year. Like I said, every year for anniversary, we do a double fruiting of beer. So we'll age a beer in some fruit, always stone fruit, and then take it off that fruit, and then put it back on fresh fruit. So this year, we work really closely with a farm called Masamoto Family Farm in California. A lot of breweries use their fruit. And my idea was to use their very first fruit of the season and their very last fruit of the season. And they both happen to be nectarines. So I think it was Spring Bright nectarines and Le Grand nectarines for the second fruiting.
Yeah, the nectarine is crazy amounts. Yeah, just off the nose, I get so much nectarines.
Yeah.
Oh wow, it's like fresh nectarines as well, not the dried ones that you can get in some beers. This is fresh nectarine.
Yeah, it tastes more nectarine than nectarine. It's like biting into a fresh piece of fruit.
Oh wow. Yeah, that is crazy.
Thank you.
That is crazy good.
We did some really unique things with the label on this one too. We can grab a bottle later to show people, but we got a wax seal and we sealed wax a stamp on every bottle. Yeah. With wax, and also put a little bookmark that explains some of the process of the beer on there too, because the name of the beer means lover of books.
Yeah. Okay. So like a collector's edition, maybe.
Sort of. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And then the last beer we got was one of our club beers this year. We have a club called the Single Barrel Syndicate, and this beer was a wine hybrid. So it's like about half Malbec wine grape must and half beer, and then it was aged in Malbec barrels.
Oh yeah, so much wine notes.
It tastes like wine. Yeah. The wine grapes we actually open ferment spontaneously by themselves for a week. And these right behind us, there's these two open top fermenters that we've got some beer in right now. So we kind of do that for a week and punch them down, and then press the grapes off the skins and combine that with beer. And then we use the skins for a separate beer called Move Water. Yeah.
This is very interesting.
And that's like 12% alcohol.
Yeah, really I was just gonna say that it's a bit more aggressive too. Yeah. It hits you really hard, but I think I'll need some time with this one to understand it.
Beer, for sure.
All right, wow. Yeah, all super, super good. But you mentioned that you always use stone fruit in your blends.
For our anniversary beer.
For your, all right, okay. So
we do a lot of other stuff too. Yeah.
Is there any fruit that you haven't worked with yet that you want to work with in the future?
I don't know. That's a good question. We're talking about working with quints, like maybe smoking some quints for a beer. We do a handful of smoked beers every year where we smoke fruit. So we did a smoked peach beer, and this year we're doing a smoked squash beer, kabocha squashes, and also we did smoked figs for a beer. So that's a new fruit that I'm excited to play with. Right now it's in barrels. It's tasting really good.
Yeah. Okay. So how long is the process from idea to finished beer for people who don't know the process of doing sour beers and it
can be a very long time, particularly for stuff like the anniversary beers. Like our anniversary is in October, and I'll start thinking basically now for next October what we want to do, because we have to be brewing the base beers right now because they're going to age for a year or two. So it takes a couple months to think about what kind of beer it's going to be, and then we brew it. And it ages, let's say, for a year, and then we fruit it for a couple months, and we bottle it for a couple months. So it can be a year and a half or 2 year process from start to finish.
And that obviously drives the price up a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not cheap beers.
No, but you feel that people are ready to pay for a bit pricier beer because of the quality, or the balance must be tough to meet the market, but also want to do as good beer as possible.
It is a balance. I think that's mostly why we focus on the smaller format bottles. We do, for the most part, 375 milliliter bottles, and that's the only size that we distribute. And that helps us keep the on the shelf for people to buy bottles around $6 to $10. Which isn't insane.
No.
But the kind of higher end of our stuff is our anniversary beer, for example, which was $32 for a 750. So they're expensive, kind of wine-like prices. But all
right, but I mean, for the quality you get, you can drink it as a wine.
Yeah, and they hold up for quite a while. So I personally think that all beers should be drank within a couple of years. I wouldn't recommend aging them for 10 or 15 years, but 2 or 3 years, it'll last and maybe even get better for a while.
And especially with fruited beers, they tend to fall off after a couple of years, the fruit taste. So
yeah, exactly. You want to drink it relatively fresh.
All right, cool. Wow, it's so interesting. Thank you so much for taking the time to
no worries.
set up with this tasting and talk to us. Yeah. So I think we're gonna let Sebastian do some tasting as well. He's really happy behind the camera right now. So he, of course, is going to do some tasting as well. And then I'm thinking we're going to try some more beer than this, because this was really good.
That's awesome.
All right, once again, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
Tack så mycket för att ni tittade. Hoppas att ni tyckte det var roligt, intressant och spännande. Likea gärna filmen då, dela med andra som kan tycka det här är kul och börja gärna prenumerera om ni inte redan gör det.
Och skriv också jättegärna en kommentar om det är så att du har tips på annat vi ska testa eller frågor eller bara en snäll kommentar. Och har du inte sett vår senaste video, då finns det en länk här till den.
Och då säger vi bara
tack för idag, vänner.